Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to another 3D Hangouts, episode 178, practically 3D printing. That's right, today we're going to be looking at practical 3D printing with wire spool holders. Yeah, we're going to take a look at some prototyping. We'll look at some CAD stuff. We'll do some shop talk, all this and more on, you guessed it, 3D Hangouts. Where's the intro? There it is.
Excellent.
Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to another 3D Hangouts. Thank you so much for joining. I'm Noel Ruiz, the designer here at Adafruit, and joining me every week is Pedro.
What's going on everybody? I'm Pedro Ruiz, creative tech here at Adafruit, and every week we come to share 3D printed projects featuring electronics from Adafruit.
That's right, this is where we combine 3D printing and DIY electronics, smash them together to make practical fidget spinners. Thank you guys so much for joining us. You are watching 3D Hangouts. Just a quick programming note. We do this show live every Wednesday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. We're streaming on Facebook. Hello everybody on Facebook. Hello everybody from YouTube, Twitch, Periscope. Those are the places we're broadcasting, doing a multi-stream. So welcome everybody to the chat room. They're hanging out in the chat room, and let's go ahead and roll into... we'll do some shout outs, but let me run through the show intro real quick. Today's coupon code is WIRESPIN. So if you're going to put something in your cart today, be sure to use coupon code WIRESPIN. You'll get 10% off your order. We also have some freebies going on. If you go to adafruit.com/free, which we did right now, you can see the different tiers. If you put an order for $100 or more, you get an Adafruit Perma Proto half-size breadboard. For $200 or more, you get free UPS ground shipping, continental US only. And for $300 or more, you get all of that plus an Adafruit Circuit Playground Express. Pretty good deals. If you're in the market for a 3D printer, you can get some free shipping on that if you're in the US. So that's pretty good. Also, I wanted to highlight, if you are outside of the US and you're still looking to get some Adafruit stuff, don't despair. You can go to adafruit.com/distributors and you can see all the different distributor people that carry Adafruit products. A lot of people in Europe, Asia, South Pacific, you name it, they're all here listed. Because a lot of the times people are like, oh, I wish Adafruit would ship here and there. And it's like, well, we don't have to, because we ship it in bulk to find folks in this areas, all these different areas.
That's right.
So check it out.
Many distributors and resellers, that is the #1 question we're asked 1,000 times a day.
And we might as well bring it into the show and just highlight it every week. Again, if you do want to order some stuff and you're in the US, you can use the WIRESPIN as the coupon code. Yeah.
I work until 11:59 p.m. tonight. We'll have another coupon code later on.
Yeah, I
7
forgot
p.m.
this engineer, yeah.
And then also tomorrow during John Park's show, there'll be another one.
You said it. You spilled all the secrets. We also have some cool stuff like same-day delivery for some certain zip codes in New York City. So that's an option. You can order something, get it the same day. It's pretty fast. We have some newsletters. AdafruitDaily.com is a daily newsletter, daily digest of some stories and tips and that sort of stuff for different categories.
It actually just went out. It goes out every morning at 11 a.m.
Yeah, just when we do the show. Timed perfectly. We also got another one that comes out once a week. This is the new products newsletter, adafruit.com/newsletter. So you can subscribe to that one. Both of them, you have to subscribe manually. We'll check in with the Discord chat room later in the show, find out what the community is working on. For now, let's take a look at this week's project. It's a practical one. Go over the overhead. This is it. Hey, look at that. So this is a caddy, an organizer, holder, a lot of different names for it. This is a little thing to hold our spools of wire. This is not just any wire. This is really nice. This is 30 gauge silicone cover wires. It's really strong. It's really flexible stuff. It's really thin stuff too, so it's good for kind of small projects, but it's also good for big projects. It's a 3D printed little holder. It's a couple different pieces, and there is a ball bearing inside. You want to pull out that pink base and show the ball bearing. That's where the ball bearing is. The little blue piece attaches to the bottom of the yellowish green piece, and the pink piece kind of fits over the outer ring of the ball bearing, making this sort of like a fidget spinner type thing.
A useful fidget spinner.
Yeah. So that's cool. If you go to Adafruit, if you go to learn.adafruit.com, you can see I put together a little guide for it. Not much assembly required for this one. It's very straightforward and easy, but I just thought it'd be a nice place to kind of house all the different product links, because we have 6 different colored 30 gauge silicone covered wires. These come in spools of 50 length wires. They're all listed here. We got these wires maybe like, I want to say like 2 years ago. And before that, we used to carry just like smaller, free, non-spooled versions. I'm really happy that we carry these, because we use these all the time for every project. If you're new to electronics and you've been using regular jumper wire and stuff, you might want to check this stuff out. It might be life-changing, right? As I show in the video, I really want it to be more of a PSA saying that, hey, this is wire that doesn't suck. It's really good wire, and I use it a lot. So about the 3D printing part, I got some STLs for you up there. It's just 3 different STLs. They're on the usual sites like Thingiverse, Imagine, and Pinshape. I also have a little note here. If you don't have a 3D printer, you can order it from our Thingiverse page, or use a service like 3D Hubs or Make XYZ to get a local 3D printing operator to ship it to you. Yeah, we also have some slice settings. I tested this on using the new Cura 3.21 slicing software. It's free software. The folks from Ultimaker make this software, so it works really well with their Ultimaker printers. So if you are using a different setup, you may need to change some of your settings accordingly. I have the design source up as a free download, so you can open this in Fusion 360 or another thing like Tinkercad or maybe SolidWorks, so you can modify the design. This is the original solids. But I highly recommend that you use Fusion 360, because there is some built-in user parameters that I set up. This is a way to allow the dimensions of certain features to be easily editable. You basically open up a little spreadsheet type window, and you have the list of the user parameters, and then you can change the expression, which is really the dimension of a given feature. So I have them listed out here, and real quick I'll run through a bit of a CAD walkthrough, kind of a speed CAD, to show you just how expandable and flexible user parameters can be in your models and your designs. So let's check it out. So the first one I want to talk about is just diameter. This is like the total diameter of the base. So I can change this to be really big if you have some bigger spools, and you can see the whole design just kind of flexes and changes with it. That's really cool. Another thing you may want to change is the peg for the spools. So this little peg is what houses the spools. Underneath here you can see I have the housing for the bearing, and this is the inner ring for the bearing. So sometimes they're 8 millimeters, sometimes they're 7 millimeters. It depends on your manufacturer, where you're getting it from. Ours is 8 millimeters, so that's why I set that up. And then the main base piece, that one is the outer ring. That's what houses the outer ring of the ball bearing, which is normally 22 millimeters. They come in a lot of different sizes, so this is why it is a easily changeable parameter inside of Fusion 360. So that's pretty much it. I'm going to do a layer by layer on how to kind of set this up, and how easy it is to change it if you just want to come in here and change it. And some things that you might want to be aware of. Obviously some, well, maybe not so obvious. It's one of those things where if you add too much or add too little of the numbers, it could break the design, so you just want to be aware of that. Really good lesson in parametric design, so I had a lot of fun putting that together. A lot of different nice things here to make this real practical print. So yeah, the assembly, I have a little quick assembly page. It's mostly just GIFs. Had a lot of fun putting that animation together. A little CAD explosion shows you kind of how the parts all fit together. Now I'm using screws. These are kind of these short 5mm flathead Phillips machine screws, the M3 type. They're metric sized screws. But you don't have to use screws. You could use glue. You don't really need the screws, but I just have so many of them, I figured why not use them. Installing the ball bearing is easy as just press fitting it into the shaft of that piece, the blue piece. And then the base just snaps onto the outer ring. It's pretty simple and straightforward. One of the things I want to note, though, however, you might notice that there's a lot of opening cutouts here at the bottom of the base. And same thing for this blue piece. There's these cutouts, and you might be wondering, why did you do that? This actually saves you about an hour each part. Otherwise, it would take 2 hours to print each part. But because I have this open space here, my printer doesn't have to spend time printing all this solid bottom and tops because it's fully open. So you save a lot of print time by doing something like this. However, I wasn't able to do it for the yellowish green piece here because then some of them would probably fall through. And the pegs kind of are in the way of these open areas here. But I thought that was interesting because originally I didn't have these and I was printing out the full bottoms of these pieces individually, and that took about 2 hours because it's a lot of surface area to just print all that stuff out. So it's kind of like optimizing for 3D printing and speed time. Since the project doesn't really need this to be fully, it doesn't need like the strength of it, because you would get more strength if you printed this whole bottom out, but it's pretty strong on the way. It's not like floppy or anything. So that's the thought behind that. And I also have these little bumpers here. These are little dot bumpers that we sell with certain products, but you can get these from Amazon too. They're really nice, low profile little dot bumpers that just stick on here, so it's nice and grippy. So there you go. That's pretty much the project. If there's any questions about it or anything like that, I'd love to hear about them, maybe chat a little bit about them.
Yeah, Ben is asking, is there a video where you go into detail about creating the holes for the screws, or are the holes not threaded when the parts are printed?
Yeah, they're not threaded, so you kind of create the threads a little bit. They're a little bit tight. Yeah, they're in CAD, they're actually set just to 3mm. So depending on your extrusion width or your lined width, they'll expand or be loose depending on those settings. And then again, you can change them in Fusion, in the sketch, if you need to do that. Yeah.
Yes, we did use the bumpers from the coasters.
Yeah, hey John Park. Yeah, hey, John is in the, yep, he totally called me out on that. That's totally where I swiped him from. We're going to talk about those too, actually, because I have a nice handful of them that I won't be using for the coasters. Yeah, so hopefully this helps some folks out. It might not be the best kind of design choice for your setup, but for our setup, I really find it handy to be able to house this in my hand, and kind of palm hold this and like bring it in and out of the garage. The original design was, you know, just a bar and 2 posts, and you would kind of, that's typically what you would see. But I thought this would be a little bit more easier to print, and I just kind of threw in the ball bearing as a last minute, and ended up being really cool for the project. So it's fun. Again, if you want to download, the STL files are all over the place. You can grab those, and also you can grab the source file if you want to take a dive in Fusion 360.
You also have a layer by layer on actually creating coils for threads.
Yeah, I have quite a few. So if you, what's the thread for? Oh, I see. If you want to thread the holes or something, yeah, you can do that. It's just that there's so little surface or thickness. You know, they're like 1.5mm thick for all the bottoms. It's not really going through that much material. It's going through 3mm, maybe a little bit less, maybe 2.5, because there's chamfers on the holes.
We also recommend getting a tap for creating those screw holes if you really want to go that route.
Yeah, I love this tapping tool. It's a really simple tapping tool. It has, a tapping tool has like special threadings that will kind of
scoop out the material for you.
Yes.
You can kind of see it there if it would focus.
I probably won't. I have to do manual focus all the time. That's fine. We can do that for you. There we go. You can see there's little kind of grooves in the cutout. And that's to allow the material to kind of scoop out once you turn it. I really like that.
Definitely recommended. This is a 2.5 mil tap, but of course you can get different ones.
Yeah. Yeah. I need to get myself a 3 mil, M3 tapping tool. So that's cool.
Again, super handy for, especially for me, I'm OCD on trying to carry as many things as I can, going from the garage to a regular soldering area.
I've been wanting to do this for like a year. Ever since we got these spools, they just started piling up. And
and then somebody mentioned too, it would be cool to make a nice little box, of like the solid core wire that we have, where it comes all in a nice little kit box.
That'd be
We
great.
had a nice different route to go.
Yeah, I still have that box because the box ends up being the holder as well. So you just move the box around.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll come up with that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Something for
Good
the
ideas.
team to come up with.
All right, cool.
Otherwise,
That's
really
this.
fun wire. Really colorful wire too. You got these gray colors.
And somebody was asking too, how strong is this stuff?
It's pretty strong.
Like this is the
I can't really break it.
what is it? The 30 gauge
Yes.
silicone wire.
You just broke it there?
I just ripped some off. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Well, that's
what
handy.
happens.
I guess you could rip it
Yeah.
if you don't have any wire cutters. Here's how strong it is. But it just with ease like breaks it in half.
Well, check it out. It stripped it for me too.
Yeah.
Ready to go.
You could do that with your fingernails. Yeah.
Yeah. Check that out.
Yeah. Easy enough to do.
So that's something you can
That's
really
a
do
trick.
with the
With
solid
PVC?
core. Yeah.
No.
So.
It is stranded wire, so you want to. Probably the only thing it's not good for is like plugging into breadboards, because breadboards kind of need those male connector pins that you get from jumper wire. So maybe, I don't know, don't use these for your breadboard projects. But if you're wiring it out, maybe you're doing some wearable stuff, you have some freehand wired stuff. I use this stuff all the time.
Super handy.
Human wire stripper, Peter.
Yeah, super easy to strip with your nails. Really cool. All right, cool. That's this week's project. Check it out.
That's a
Of
nice
course.
suggestion from Liz. Make it look like an actual carousel.
With like horses and stuff on it.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty cool. Or at least some detail on the sides.
Yeah. Okay. So you want to pick up some wire?
We got wire,
We got a bunch of
bearings,
wire.
filaments.
Yep.
Use coupon code wire spin. Get that
That's
10% off.
Get all the wires.
Yeah, for
all
this,
the wires.
you definitely have to collect them all. Every single color, especially when you're doing a bunch of GPIO connections. You don't want to sit there and like rip out tape and like label each
Oh, I used to
connection.
do that. Yeah.
It's a lot more easier to just color code it.
Yeah. Fun colors.
All right, jumping
All right, so
into
that's this project.
week's.
Let me know what you guys think, and if you make one, please post a make on it. That'd be a lot of fun.
So
Nice
jumping
and
into-
easy one this week. I was kind of happy to put that together because it's like a nice project that combines a couple things. Make a quick video about it. Yeah, I like it.
All right, so jumping into this week's Woody prototyping section. A couple weeks ago, Phil wrote some really cool code for doing some simulated LED sand for the feather.
Yeah, and this is what that looks like. If you hop over to the website, you can see the 64 by 64 RGB LED matrix.
This is
2.5.
running a Raspberry Pi with the brand new 64 by 64 LED matrix.
Yeah. This is that, and this is the actual bonnet designed by Phil B. See the bonnet, there's a nice 2.1 barrel jack. I really like these headers. I think they're kind of different because they actually go through flush with the headers on the Pi. You can see them sticking out there. So very little soldering required because the cables are all kind of come with it. It comes with the IDC cable. It comes with this like chunky power cable as well. And the idea is to 3D print some handles inspired by the Easy Speak design. So the Easy Speak is sort of your 80s, I think it's from the 80s kind of toy. Paige, you want to move around with the handles? No. So you got these holes here, and those are for buttons. So we're going to be able to trigger different sample animations. These are the 16mm buttons. So you're able to trigger some things. If you look on the back of the display, that's where all the stuff, that's where all the magic is. So you have a 3D printed bracket. You can see that in yellow. That houses the Pi Zero, the Pi Bonnet, and the LIS 30H, which is an accelerometer. It's a low-cost accelerometer. It connects over I2C. So it's just 4 wired connections for power, ground, so clocks your data. Pretty nice. We have a library and demo code available, so if you guys want to put this together, you can now. It's a little bit pricey because it's a butt ton of LEDs. It's a lot of LEDs.
Yeah, so we're gonna have the mode change and the reset with one of these buttons.
Yep.
And a nice, cool way to show off physics LED sand.
Yeah, so you saw our original LED sand. It was a very small version. This is a very large version. Doing some cool stuff like printing with a bigger nozzle. So I'm really impressed at the speed of which you can print these handles. These handles would take like 4 hours with a regular 3D printer setup. How long do these take per?
These take 1 hour.
So it's like 4 times faster. And it doesn't look bad at all. The layers don't even look that chunky, which is impressive.
Oh, yeah, it looks really good.
Why does it look so smooth? Yeah. So that's pretty awesome. You can print fast too with a bigger nozzle with the Ultimakers.
Yeah, so this will be next week's project. Nice little simple one. The only thing you need to print out is the mounts and the handles. And Philby's also working on a really cool laser cut version for this.
Sweet, yeah.
One of those.
Yeah, so you have options. Because when I was putting together the circuit, it's kind of flopping around, and I don't have any places to stick anything, so it's really actually handy. We're going to probably make it portable. Right now we have it tethered.
Yeah. John's asking how big of a nozzle. This is using the 0.8 nozzles that come with the Ultimaker Olsen block kit. And I think all of those come standard now with all of the Ultimaker 2 pluses.
You guys want to see it working?
Yeah, let's see what it looks like. Should be booted up by now.
Yeah, I gotta CD into the right spot, and then do a little sudo. What do you want, the demo with the logo? Demo 3?
Yeah, let's do that one.
And then, boy, do I remember what it is. Let me quickly, I want to check the chat real quick. It'll take me like 30 seconds to pull out this.
Chris is asking, what nozzle do you recommend? So usually we're just using the 0.4 nozzle for typical...
Yeah, that's what's kind of stock,
like
right?
smaller things, yeah. For this one specifically, because it just took so long to print out these, switch to the 0.8. For the pie mounts, because I did need a little bit of detail for the 3mm mounting holes on the pie, I used the 0.6mm nozzle. And that definitely sped up printing time as well. So here's what it looks like with the demo. Excuse the refresh rate on that.
Oh, I could fix that, guys. Check this out. I definitely recommend getting this web settings panel if you are using a webcam. Allows you to do some funky stuff like this. You can turn down the... Oh, I can...
That might make it worse.
I can bring it up.
There you go.
Or completely eliminate it. Oh, it's kind of the viewing angle. That's interesting. Yeah, so this is running off a Pi 0. Pretty nice. Again, those glitches aren't really there. There's just the camera's picking it up.
Yeah, so next step for this is to add a power boost on this to make it completely portable without having to plug into the wall there.
Cool. We post some links to this. If you want the matrix, that's the matrix. And if you want the bonnet, well, that's the bonnet. Let's check over on Facebook. I'm going to send you guys the link there. So if you're in Facebook and you want to say hello, we're here. We're paying attention.
So there's 3 different demos that come with this.
Correct.
Hourglass one, and you can check them all out on the product page there.
Right.
So
it all comes with the library. It's a really easy setup too. You just run one command line, and it does all the software dependencies for you. Yeah. It's just really nice. So great work, Phil B. We appreciate that.
Someone's asking, what other applications can this be used for? This is definitely for interactive
maybe
installations.
Some fun, maybe some fun games. I can imagine like a labyrinth type marble.
That was the first thing that came up, yeah.
Yeah, that'd be really cool.
So definitely for programming your own games or coming up with interactive installation, like whatever would benefit from
Yep, got a nice Python library, so you can get started right away. Yep. Maybe we'll make a box, because that's something that we see interest in, making a big old LED box. And we're like, yeah, let's start with one. It's kind of pricey.
Cosplay, yeah, maybe. If your character has something to do with a motion activated like screen, that'd be cool.
Maybe TV head.
Oh, TV head would be cool.
Yeah.
There was another question. What was it? Oh, the luminance or lumas. Do you know what the brightness of this is? Is it listed on the product page for this?
My links are 404. Oh no.
Oh, must be YouTube. mangling the links.
We'll see. If not, just go to adafruit.com/new, and it should be right there.
Oh, that's a good idea. From Liz saying it could be really
Music
cool for
reactive stuff. Yeah,
sound reactive. Bounce around
or something in the chest. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can mask it off or something to make a custom shape.
So we'll take a look at this next week.
It's just a lot of fun to play with.
Yeah, so addicting.
Yeah. All right.
Awesome job, Philby.
Wire spin, 10% off. Those things, all things in the Adafruit shop except for the subscriptions and gift certificates. Yeah. Sweet. We're gonna do some shop talk next. Actually, let's do a real quick layer by layer. I released a new tutorial, Fusion 360 tutorial, on the YouTube channels. And it's about doing some simple explosion animations. Now you might wonder, why would you want to animate your CAD models? It's mostly for documentation purposes, showing how the disassembly of something. In this case, I have this 100mm arcade button, and I'm showing how to take it apart piece by piece. As you can see, like the top dome comes off first, and then the bottom base, and then the inner housing separates from the outer housing, followed by some other bits and bobs. So I walk you through how to think about that, my process for thinking about how to explode it, and just kind of messing with the timeline to kind of get the results that you want, and turning it into a GIF using Photoshop. All optional, but just want to kind of share that with you guys. So that's on the Adafruit YouTube channel, and it's in the layer by layer playlist. And it's new. It came out this week, so check it out if you are interested in that. Cool. Let's see. I am going to check some notes. Checking the chats if there's anything there. Looking good.
Is there any way to explode bodies instead of components?
So the easy way to do that would be to use the web browser, but not really. Fusion's really designed for components, and that's kind of step 0, is to set up your model so that every piece is a component. So yeah. Oh, I got a great comment on the mat. People love this mat. It is from Amazon, just heat-resistant mat. I'll put a link to it in the show notes, because I got to pull it out of my my Amazon orders thing. But yeah, I got it from Amazon. It's a really nice mat. I like the color of it a lot.
Yeah, it's available in different sizes. I can post a link right here for it.
I'm gonna pull that and then put it in the Facebook. It's a really nice mat. We should really stock it. I'm gonna try to stock it, guys. That's it. There it is, Amazon. And what I'll do is open it here.
Somebody's asking too, what other 3D software would you use, or would you recommend instead of Fusion?
Tinkercad, if you're very, very beginner. Tinkercad's a great place to start. That's actually how I started. There's some other things like FreeCAD. Onshape is a really good one as well. It's all browser-based, so it'll run on Linux and Chrome. It just runs in the Chrome browser. Really nice.
And there's another one that we were talking about last week.
Last week we were talking about Vecteez, I believe, which is a really interesting, solid modeling piece of software, completely different type. Onshape, yep, that's the one that's all web-based. It's all parametric, sketch-driven. Blender, open source, free to download. Really great polygon modeler. I like that. Good, all great choices, and thank you guys for posting that in the chats.
Yeah, the Vectree I just posted in the chat room. That's pretty cool.
Cool. Next thing I want to talk about is a project that we kind of quickly put together. So last week we had some new products, and these were one of them. These are custom designed coasters in collaboration with SAR, who runs Boldport Club. So these are some Adabot themed coasters. So there are a set of 4 of them here. We have 4 of them right now. And they all have the little Boldport logo there. They're double-sided PCBs. There's a little bit of coolness happening here. I believe that's a rose gold color. And then this is actual copper. This is really shiny coppery. and this is just a blank FR4. And then there's a black outline over here. So I think there's like a two-tone color going on here. And the solder mask is transparent, so you can kind of see through it. So what we did is we put together these Ninjaflex bumpers. So these are printed in Ninjaflex, and it's a really good use case of Ninjaflex. If you got a spool of Ninjaflex laying around, not sure what to do with it, you might want to consider making some bumpers for some things. So without the bumpers, they're kind of coarse edges, right? They're smooth, but they're not going to cut you, but they're not exactly the nicest feeling. They slip without this. They kind of slip really easily. So they do come with these bumpers. They actually stole the bumpers from these, so it comes with 4 bumpers. But I wanted to make these Ninjaflex bumpers because they kind of cover the entire edge, and they just click in like this. So I tried out different colors. We carry all different colors in the Adafruit shop. And we're doing a couple different tests. Here we're trying to see what does it look like if we create a full Ninjaflex backing. This is printed in the Ninjaflex Clear, printed on the Ultimakers using clear water color, which is just a transparent Ninjaflex. This is the regular Ninjaflex. It's the, is it 75 or 85A? I think it's 75A. And we're just trying out some different things here. You can see, if you want to pick up these coasters, they're really nice, just kind of works of art. They're over here. There's some coffees there. Your standard coffee is going to fit on them. Bigger coffee mugs probably won't fit on them, but they're 100 millimeter wide, I think. I want to say they're about 100 millimeter from edge to edge. And they all come in, we have different arts. They're pretty thick too. They're like 2.5 millimeter thick FR4. So they're nice and chunky.
Yeah, so the main reason I got this is, even though we illustrate them being used with a coffee mug, when you put it on there, it has a tendency to slide very well off of there.
Yeah.
Not so good when you have
a
full cup of piping hot coffee on your coaster. So adding the completely covered Ninjaflex bumper was one of the things that I wanted. What did you do with it? And there it is. So yeah, definitely adds a nice amount of grip. You have a ceramic mug over top of it. Adds a nice little grip characteristics to it, so it doesn't slide right off.
Johnny's putting out a nice, yeah, so Ninjaflex is definitely not for the kind of faint of heart. It's a very challenging material to print with. It's just very, very flexible, so the main issue that tends to happen with 3D printers is it starts buckling. When it's printing, that means it's so floppy and flexible that it kind of, what's the right name? It buckles. It buckles.
Yeah, it just fails to
extrude. Yeah. And there's
different flavors of Ninjaflex, so you could get a much harder shore hardness, like the Cheetah Ninjaflex, which is a little bit more forgiving.
It's a lot better for the Bowden setup, so like the Ultimakers, for example.
And then Liz was asking, is it true that if you're using PEI, that it's bad for these?
It can be. It can fuse really well. I think Kirby tends to use sort of a releaser, so like some glue stick or some spray adhesive, so that you have a layer to kind of pop off. I printed these actually on my FlashForge Creator Pro using the Print-in-Z skins from Print-in-Z. There are these kind of build tack type add-ons for your bed, and they were printed on a non-heated bed, so I didn't heat them up. And the bottoms come out fairly well. They're a little difficult to remove, especially on a hot heated glass. It tends to kind of break if you don't have good layer bonding. So what I tend to do is I print pretty slow with Ninjaflex, about 30 to 40 millimeters a second. Pretty hot, about 230 C on the extruder. You don't want to, you might need to go hotter than that, or depending.
Up to 240
And your
sometimes.
first layer needs to be really slow, like 28 millimeters a second. We have a guide on the learning system on all these settings and things like that, things to be aware of, which is in the learning system. Just type in Ninjaflex and it'll pull right up. And it still continues to be a difficult thing to print. I did have to tweak my settings, and it's been a while since I've actually printed with the FlashForge Creator Pro. And I actually have a modified nozzle. I have the Flex Ion extruder, which we talked about a little bit on the previous episode of 3D Hangouts. It is a add-on, third-party add-on to different types of nozzle setups. This is the MK8 style. It's a direct drive, and it basically has like teeth and a special direct drive system for really grabbing on, biting onto the filament so it doesn't buckle. So that works really well. Unfortunately, I don't have a fan yet, a cooling fan, so this could print pretty well without a cooling fan, which is kind of neat. Another thing I found that was really useful was the starting points in the slicer were set to random. So that's where the edge loop is starting a parameter when you're slicing, when the tool head's building the parameter. And so what happens if you're using random, what happens is the printer tries to start in different spots. And what you end up with is, I can show you, this is what it prints like off the bed. All the string comes out, right? So this is all due to, yes, retractions, but also, importantly, is the starting points. The starting points are set to random, so that means every corner is kind of switching over and starting over to create the Z seam, right? It's the beginning, the starting point of the edge loop. So what happens, you can change that option to say optimize it so it only stays in one spot, and then it'll print like this without any string. It'll have a couple little bits and bobs here, but for the most part, it'll print it without all the string because the printer is just starting the edge in one given point, not randomizing the points. That's a feature, that's a setting that can be changed in Simplify 3D. It's under the Layer tab, I believe. For Cura, I have yet to figure out where it is, but I will get back to you on that one because I still have to do some testing. But as far as setting it up in Simplify 3D, that's kind of how we set it up. And another thing testing out is kind of this full bottom here, just to see how transparent this material actually is. It kind of leaves behind a little texture to it, so not too happy with it, but you know, it definitely adds way more grip to the surface there. So just some tips out there with Ninjaflex. Tough material to print with, but there are kind of workarounds and stuff to kind of get a good print out of it. Let's see, in the chat room we have some different things.
Yeah, somebody's asking if we can get PEI to have the characteristics that we're using for the Lego tape.
I can't remember if Kirby said it worked or not.
I think it did work.
You think it did
I
work?
would give it a try.
Okay.
But I think it did end up working.
Yeah, with the printed Z-skin, it doesn't really work. We found that the best clinginess is with glass beds.
Mm-hmm. That's only if you're going after the characteristics of clinging to glass. Otherwise, you don't really need that.
Now, here's a question.
If you just need it to be flexible, yeah, you don't need to print it on glass.
No, yeah.
That was just for the clinging characteristics.
Does the model have to be elastic or just flexible? Yeah, so one of the things about, let me talk real quick about tolerances, is there's really no tolerances. Like, I dimensioned these out to be exactly 100 by 100. If you use calipers and you measure out from here to here, it is exactly 100 millimeters. Mm-hmm. So Ninjaflex, because it can stretch and it's elastic, I actually don't want any tolerance clearance.
Sometimes I actually have to make it a little bit smaller
has
just
to be
for it
to kind of clinch into these guys. Another thing is there's a chamfer here, a 45-degree chamfer right there in this edge, so that it can actually print that. So there's just not much of an overhang there, and this is just an offset. So it's a very kind of small. This takes about half an hour to 3D print. It would be faster if it was Cheetah, because then you could print at 60 millimeters a second. But we're printing at 40, so it takes about did I say an hour or half hour? Let's think about or an hour, something like that, like 45 minutes to print.
Yeah, unfortunately, if you wanted to stick to your monitor, you might have to
Yeah.
get some glass, maybe
Heated
put
glass.
it on top of the
Yeah, it won't print
PI
on
sheet.
cold glass, but it will print cold on blue tape. It will print cold on...
But you're not going to get those clinging
Right.
characteristics.
Right. Right, so that's... we'll release the STL later today, because I haven't done that yet.
All right, cool. Moving on to more
One last
shop
thing,
talk.
hold on, I'm not done. I didn't even get to show. We have a bunch of these colors in the shop. And let's taking a look at you know, other resellers of Ninjaflex, and we're the cheapest on the market, which is pretty nice. So it's $50 a spool because it's kind of some special rubber. And if you use coupon code WIRESPIN, get 10% off that, even cheaper. Just throwing that out there. Normally have it in 175 millimeter because that's kind of the best for regular Ninjaflex. We also have some Cheetahs as well that come in 3 millimeter, which is really 285. Yeah. There's a lot of different colors out there. Check them out. I use that peach color here, almond peach smoothie, which is right there. That color works really well with the rose gold. This one, I really like it. It's kind of different. Sweet. And if you want to pick up the coasters, PID 3713. That's cool.
All right, moving on.
Yeah, let's move on.
We wanted to talk about this AT switcher tester.
Yeah. So this just hot off the press. This is from Bill Binko of AT Makers, and he just released this guide. It is using CircuitPython and the Trinket M0 to create a simple tester for testing AT switches. All of the AT switches are kind of standardized. Assistive Tech, that's what it stands for, AT Assistive Tech switches. They're big buttons that make it easy to actuate things, to turn things on. So every switch adapt toy, every little interface device for the Assistive Tech community requires an audio jack, a 3.5 millimeter audio jack. So this guide walks you through how to create a tester. So the idea is that we're using the dot star, the built-in dot star on the Trinket M0 to turn green if the switch works and turn red if the switch isn't working. So this guy walks through that, and Bill Binko put this up on his site, and he also has a video on how to wire up these TRS jacks, which we carry in the Adafruit shop now, and it's using CircuitPython. So shout out to Bill Binko and team for putting this together, and I thought I'd share it with you guys. I'll have it linked down below as well. So if you want to make some switches, really good first time soldering project, I think. He's making this out for the STEM and robotics teams in high schools to kind of put these together. It's a really neat, really useful tool. Okay, next up, Chinese New Year. This is really cool. Seems like every year we come out with some new, we tend to celebrate the lunar year every year. You can go back in the blog and see just how far back we can go. I think it starts in like 2011 or something. But this year is the year of the dog, and we've decided to print Flowlistics low polygon pug, dual extruded.
It is a fantastic model. Nice little pug. Actually, I had pictures of all the other ones except the dual extruded version of this one. So we used the Ultimaker 3 with no purge enabled and just the tree supports to make sure that the overhang of the little chin came out really good. And you can see that there's no contamination on it except the tiny little part there where it did make contact with the tree branch of the supports, and then one little one right here down by its little arm there. Otherwise, it came out very flawless, minimal waste. And
yeah, just a little bit of supports, right?
Yeah,
let's take
really
a look at the...
really impressed with the borders between the two colors here. You see that it's pretty sharp. I've had other printers actually like print one layer on top of each other, and it looks like it's sort of like bleeding into each other. This one has a nice sharp contrast between the two, and it doesn't bleed into each other. So a very nice job with the Ultimaker 3 there. And we're printing at 70 millimeters a second on this, so pretty fast.
Yeah, I'm surprised so quick they printed. If you haven't already, we'll just run it through now. We do a time-lapse video. We do a time-lapse video every Tuesday. It launches at midnight Eastern time. We have all the slice settings on the side there, so if you are interested in those, they kind of run through quick, so you can pause it if you want, but 4.5 hours total 3D printing time. We're using Melt Inks PLA, we carry a couple of melt ink spools. This is the magenta color.
I believe we're stocking a couple more colors
Yeah,
in the coming
we're
weeks.
working on stocking more colors, so you'll see some more colors in the shop soon. So that's the pug. Huge shout out to Flowlistic for putting this design together. Quite a few people put it together. I don't think anyone's printed it in dual extrusion yet. This is his dual extrusion version. He has a little handkerchief.
Very cool.
There's a couple of makes here. So shout out to Flowlistic. Posted as a make. And there's a lot of low poly dogs, so I was like, oh, which one should we choose? So
Yeah, I
the
like
dual
the pug
extrusion one was really on point for what we're trying to do.
Yeah, we had a pug growing up.
You did.
Cool.
No,
Very
it's
nice little design here from.
Flowlistic. Cool. So check that out if you want to print your own. We'll have the links in the description. Sweet.
Next up, really cool RGB color mixer from Liz.
That's right, Liz, Blitz City DIY. Check her out on Instagram. She's posting a lot of progress of her work.
Behind
And
the
this is one
scenes.
I'm really excited about. This is a, like Pedro said, RGB color mixer. Idea is you have 3 colors here, RGB. You have some rotary, I think they're rotary, maybe they're potentiometers, probably potentiometers. And you can fine tune and dial in the color. And the NeoPixel stick is what's doing the color, combining the RGB together. The 3 dots here are just showing that they are RGB, they're just kind of indicators.
So the reason why this is so cool is because for testing of colors to make, say, like a cosplay prop, there's a difference between using a color picker inside of Photoshop to try to get the hexadecimal numbers for the color that you're trying to reproduce. So another thing when you're actually rendering them out in real life to see what the LEDs are actually producing, usually it's not what is matching up on your screen,
it's never true to color
calibration or something like that. So this is very handy to actually see exactly what color you're getting and then have an output of what those RGB values are for this.
Yeah.
So super handy for this. We actually wanted this quite a while ago when we were at Epcot. They have this ginormous, Glendon has this ginormous, like, it's not a ride, it's like a educational little walkthrough thing.
It's like a science museum display.
Yeah,
so this
like
is
all
it. So
colors.
it's just this giant sort of console, and it's a game. So there's I think it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different ones. They have these paint buckets. They have a screen with speakers, and the screen will tell you what color it is, and then you have to come up with the color by sliding these little sliders to create the color, win the game, you win the prize or whatever.
This is actually a really cool game that could probably be implemented to
Right.
this.
So again, it's from Epcot, Walt Disney's Epcot, and it's called Colortopia. I think it's by Simmons. No, maybe, I don't remember.
No, it's Glendon.
Glendon's, the paint people.
Yeah, so this is really nice. Something that we wanted for quite a while now, but
Yeah,
don't
we're thinking
have
like, how would we do it? How would you scale this down? Because this is it's a big console. There's a lot of parts to it. It's a really stunning looking thing. It all lights up and there's like paint oozing out of it. Looks really cool. A lot of fun stuff there.
Yeah, so
At the Colortopia.
excellent job. She was able to bring this ginormous booth into a nice
Little handheld
portable
DIY
handheld.
project. Super dope. Yeah.
Super handy for choosing the right color for your LED projects.
Yep.
Very awesome.
So check out Liz on Instagram. I got a link for you guys down below, and here's just a couple of shots of her development, putting it together. It's running off of the M0 Express, I believe, and it's CircuitPython.
Yes. Very awesome.
So check her out on there and give her a subscribe
Follow, like,
on YouTube
subscribe.
as well.
Always coming out with really cool projects. Very useful. Again,
Yeah,
I've wanted
thank you
this
for
for
sharing it,
such
Liz.
a long time. I just don't have the coding chops to
Oh yeah, we're like,
know
hey,
where to
we can
start to
just-
do
yeah.
this, but
Awesome.
very excellent. I will definitely be looking into.
Yeah, I want to
building
build
one.
one. Let's
Yeah.
build one for Timeless Tuesday.
Very awesome.
We are sponsoring a new contest with Pinshape. So if you go to pinshape.com/contest, this is the latest one. You have an opportunity to win some stuff like a 3D printer. First place is a Robo 3D printer R2. Second place is a whip box. Third place is an Adafruit gift card, $50. And the first place also gets a $100 gift card from Adafruit. How to enter, you just upload your model to Pinshape. So Pinshape's a repo site. It's kind of a marketplace as well for STL files, 3D maker people, designers. So check that out. we have done so many cosplay video game things. So the idea is to make a prop from a video game, from your favorite video game, or maybe not favorite video game, whatever video game, and share it. They are really encouraging the use of electronics in painting, weathering, that type of stuff. They really want to see some stellar things to give folks opportunity to win 3D printers. So these are just a couple of, over there, these are just a couple of the projects we've done in the past. If you're new, we've been doing cosplay props maybe on and off the months. Probably the most popular ones are the Zelda Breath of, I keep wanting to say Fresh Air, but it's Breath of the Wild. People hate me when I say it the wrong way. So we have those and some other things like a hammer that from Fix It Felix Jr., which isn't really a game, but it was a game in the movie, so it kind of makes sense. Yeah, we have the Bioshock syringe, which is one of my favorite classics. It's using copper PLA material to make an actual copper syringe. And the energy sword, which is really awesome, so you can check that out. And some helmets and that sort of thing. So if you want a circuit, you want to remix it, definitely check out the learn.adafruit.com. Get yourself some sample code, some LEDs, and put together a sweet design for this contest. So again, Pinshape is running this contest. You got 45 days, ends in April 07. Get all the details from the links. I'll go ahead and put this in now. There we go. Hello Facebook, I'll give you that link there. I like how the seconds are coming down, like, oh, you have to do it now. Sweet. Also, shout out to the judge, some of the judges. I really like Jake from Pinshape. He works as a product engineer, but he also has a YouTube channel called Make Yourself. He did this really cool project with the ancient arrow from Zelda Breath of the Wild, which is really neat. He also did a really big rifle from Destiny 2. A lot of fun content. There's also some really cool guides on the Adafruit Learning site. Check out these bunny ears using MakeCode. This is by Erin St. Blaine, our residential mermaid. Pixie Fairy. She's really cool. She does some really awesome variable cosplay type projects.
Yeah, they're super awesome. They are motion activated, so you can do different animations or colors, and there's different modes on them as well. So yeah, check this out.
Yeah, I just like the kind of simple animatronics, right? Mm-hmm. Well, not really, but yeah. MakeCode. Really cool.
Yeah, really good motion gesture modes.
Yeah, running a Circuit Playground Express. Ooh, sweet. Got another cool one. This is actually from Matt Brigatti. How to awesome. Cast metal with 3D printed molds. Mm-hmm. So you make a silicone-based mold out of your 3D printed buck. So you create some molds, and then you can use some low melting alloy like pewter. Melt that down and create some metal parts with your silicone mold that you made out of a 3D printed buck. So Matt walks you through his design process, some samples, theory, terminology, really well put together guide. Shows you some what not to do, like an open-ended mold. So I'm learning just by reading about some of the mistakes and things he encountered. Very, very interesting. So Matt Brigatti is a guest contributor. And check it out, it's live right now. I definitely recommend checking it out if you are interested in casting. And just catching up with the chat, do a little quick Q&A.
And some comments. Yes, Aaron is doing some really cool stuff with MakeCode, says Liz.
Yep. MakeCode is awesome. You guys can check it out. Just make.code.org, I think it is. Is it makecode.adafruit.com? Yeah. So really great way to get started with programming and the Circuit Playground Express. Go to makecode.adafruit.com.
And I think it was posted in the Discord if you want to try out the WebUSB
beta.
The YouTube, okay, or the firmware for that.
Yeah, we'll talk about it more next week, I think, because right now I don't have it set up. But there are some, some projects you can really quickly start playing with and remixing. Here's the clap light, so you clap, it senses the sound, and it lights up the NeoPixels. Start tutorial. It'll actually load in all the block codes it puts together. Kind of walks you through the steps and how to build it. So that's really neat. These are all the kind of modules you can play with. Well, they're not showing here because this is a tutorial, but really cool. It's a thing by Microsoft. So they put this together. It's really neat. And I recommend checking it out. Okay, let's go ahead and switch over to Community Makes. If you guys want to share some projects with us, please do so. You can hit us up in any of the social channels or just drop it in the Discord show and tell channel. That's where we tend to take a look at. So let's do that now. Let me switch my monitor. Kind of run through it just a little bit. Ingley John is working on some bearings, threaded inserts, coupler. It looks like a sort of a syringe pump assembly. That looks really cool. And a sort of a custom PCB. Nice setup there. We have some more progress from Adam, who has the electron microscope. Super cool. These are from, I think, 2 weeks ago, because we're just catching up on it. There's some more DIY HomeKit enabled light strip work from Mark F on Discord. We got an update from Chris Young, who put together the IR library. He's releasing version 2 for the Trinket M0. CG Grover is playing around with those cases. They work really well for housing your breadboard and maybe a feather. Those are cool. Dio20 is working on the Dalek. Amazing, but also scary at the same time. This, I almost got this one, an LED display module. Looks pretty cool. Just sharing some progress. Looks like a PCB design, upcycling 5 holiday window decorations, NeoPixel strips. Always a good thing to do.
Speed around on these.
Yep, trying to go quick as I can. This looks like a repurposing case. Looks really neat. Wow, that's cool. Might be an amplifier of sorts. This is really cool. This was from Valentine's was last week. So Brian put himself a present using EL wire for his wife. It looks really cool. It looks like real neons, but it's just EL wire. Great way to get that effect, a neon type effect. Sub-miniature tube mini guitar amplifier. Looks like he finished it. Looks great. This is like an enclosure for the air quality monitor. There's so many awesome projects going on here.
Yeah, you're gonna have to.
It's a shame to kind of, really quick through. A little robot using Pringles can. It's
that's cool.
fast. It's amazing. Very, very cool. So check this out. Potato battery, perhaps. A lot of potatoes. Plug them into the outlet. Here's the robot running around. There's a little cat explosion I put together. This is really cool. This is some sort of gamepad, the ESP32 by Discord user Hex. He's got his, rightly so, a bunch of hex patterns on the PCB. It looks really cool. Oh, it's using those nice buttons too. Doing some NES emulation. Using the ESP again, ESP32. Some light setups here. Doing the DIY HomeKit again. This is some sort of mold making, perhaps. And this is Rebecca, who's a usual on the show and tell, sharing some of her progress. Gary Kester, making a sort of avatar display. Oh man, this is awesome. Look at the quality on this one. This is a arcade cabinet. Very cool. Sort of a desktop one. Look at the quality on that, on the print job. It looks amazing.
All right.
High-end EFO
Gonna
oven.
have to do it for this week's show.
And for more, be sure to check out the Discord channel. So many great projects. Can't run through them all. Wish I could. Got it in the show. So if you do want us to get your project on here, please do message me on the socials up there. I'm at Ekin, pages at VideoPixel on Twitter, Instagram.
Of course, Adafruit as well.
You can also email directly.
Yeah, you can add us.
Email directly, support@adafruit.com. That's probably the quickest way to actually get this on here.
And a lot of behind the scenes on the Adafruit Instagram as well.
Yeah.
Check that out.
Cool. So don't forget, later tonight, we're going to do 2 more shows. We got
Show
we
and
have Show and Tell. That comes at 7:30 p.m. It's in like, I don't know, a couple hours. It's on Wednesdays, Eastern Time, 7:30 p.m. Right after that is Lamar and Phil. This is where the new products happen. Arduino news, Raspberry Pi news that are happening, sneak peeks. You can win something as well at the end. There's a trivia. You can call in the show and win something. So be sure to check that out. And then tomorrow we have John Park, who's live at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. And Aaron St. Blaine, Tinker Pixie, coming out with videos every week now too.
Desk of Lady Ada is back. They'll be streaming
Yep.
randomly, so make sure to click on that bell on YouTube so you can get notified as soon as they
please
go
do.
on live.
Yep. Or any of the other social channels. They tend to multicast it as well. Seems like all the things are ironed out. It works really well. Get a first look at a new robot, Circuit Playground robot, that is in development. So check that out. Don't forget, all your orders are supporting the lovely people at Adafruit. Hundreds and so people. They're working hard to ship your orders and manufacture.
Yes. Thank you, thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys. And as always, don't forget about the coupon code, 10% off your order. I've already said that enough. And thank you for tuning in live. We do the show every Wednesday at 11 a.m. That's going to be it for this show, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget, links are in the description, so if you want to pick up any of the things in the links or check out any of the things in the links, they're down there.
Yes.
Don't forget to have a great day. Make a great day.
Right, thanks.
Thanks, guys.
See you guys.
I'll see you later tonight. Can't see with the camera. Bye, everybody.